be curved in.
I'm not happy you're taking that off.
I had to have a little chat with the customer and just say to him, listen.
Excuse me, can you move your van?
What, mate?
Your van, I need to get out. Has this scratch scope been done right? I've seen it done before, it was crisscross, not like you've done it.
Are you filming this for your YouTube channel? I said, yeah. Okay, this is today's job. We've got to render this wall. We've got a little hole to fill up there, and we're going to render this wall here as well. So the first thing we need to do is get it beaded up. So let's get started. I know it doesn't look ideal, but ultimately cement won't stick to the inside of that liner, so using foam, that will work. Now the interesting thing was, I said to the customer, I priced this up over WhatsApp, over messages, which I always advise against doing, but we're so far away from home, it was just easier for this little job. Now I said to the customer about these holes, and the customer said, don't worry about it, we're filling them in. And we've got here, and they weren't filled in. Now, before anyone mentions it, I know my grinder hasn't got a guard on, but I'm using a tile cutting disc. It's not nearly as aggressive as a disc that would cut through timber. The great thing about using pink grip is it's easy to adjust your beads. You can put them anywhere you want, get them set, and when you're happy with it, just smooth that down. Now, ultimately, I usually just get a nice little wet brush and flatten it in. But if you just lick your thumb so it doesn't stick to you, you can just flatten it in. You want to make sure that's mited. The next one's mited so they both meet up. And also, the wing of the bead's mited so that when you put your corner bead down, they're not overlapping each other and sticking up. And in she goes. There we go, now that should fit in there, perfect, like that. And remove these unsightly things. Oh, they always stick these trims on, like so they're irremovable. And when we render, we're going to be in front of this. If we go over the top of this, it's not very good key for the render, and we can't go up to it because we'll be curved in.
I'm not happy you're taking that off.
It'll have never been on show.
Alright, I'll leave you to it, yeah.
Alright. I promise you it'll be perfect when it's done.
Excuse me, can you move your van?
What, mate?
Your van, I need to get out.
Yeah, 1 second, I'll just move it for you now. It started already. I've been here for 5 minutes. I've moved my van 3 times already. The joys of working in a cul-de-sac. Park on the customer's drive a little bit. He's like, I need to get out. Can you move your van? Everyone's asking me to move my van. There we go. The customer's just been out and said, can you nail the beads on rather than using the pink stuff? But yeah, some people would think that the bead is actually holding the render on. He's concerned if the beads fall off, the render will fall off, but it doesn't really work like that. But anyway, it is what it is. We'll just do whatever it takes to get this job done and keep everyone happy. Nailing beads is a f***ing pain in the ass. We're going to get some base coat on and mesh it. The customer said that he's put all the gear in the shed, so we'll go and grab that and then we can start base coating. What is that? Okay, so I told the customer to go and pick his colour in Eco Rend, and now we have got PRB Super Blut. Now it doesn't, I'm not really that bothered about using this different material. It's not what I'm used to using. It's all pretty much the same, but it'll have different characteristics. So we'll have to see what this is like. What I am concerned with is these are only 20 kilogram bags. So I told him how many bags to get for the square meterage, and now we're missing 5 kilograms out of each bag, whether we've actually got enough to do the job. So let's see what the coverage is. Right, according to this, I usually calculate that one bag will do 1 square metre. One 25 kilogram bag will do 1 square metre. According to this, if it goes on at 10 millimetre thick, which is the thinnest, at 14.5 kilograms, and bear in mind that that's 20 kilograms, it'll do a metre squared. So even though these are smaller bags, apparently we're still going to get over a square metre out of one bag at 10 mil thick. So we should have enough gear. We'll just see if that actually is true. Why don't customers just buy the right? This is one of the things, right? The customer said to me, just give me a labour only price, I'll buy the materials. Now, I probably would have got the materials cheaper, but I did think it would save me time and hassle having to go to the builders merchants if they get it. The only problem is when customers get your stuff, they never get the right stuff. Now, I would like to complain and have a moan about it, but so far, the base coat is absolutely gorgeous, so I can't really say anything. This mesh needs to overlap about 100 mil. And just a little tight coat over the top. Sometimes it's easier to cut the mesh when it's actually on. So for tricky little bits like this, if you just wait till the mesh is on the wall, then you can trim it to exactly where it needs to be. Not said it was SBR. And then, but I'm like, here's what it is. It's almost to find out what it is. You just get some, you can just get some SBR. I always put a little mark in the wall where the last bit of mesh was up to. You can see there, look. See this? There's the orange mesh, and then that's the end of it. So I always put a little mark like that so I know where they've got to overlap up to. Like, yeah, but the way they manufacture it, mate, these lines are what I follow. I said to the customer it's probably best to take this off, but he doesn't want it off, he wants it on. Hopefully he'll never want to change it in the near future because it's now rendered into the wall. Okay Reece, which one's the first piece of mesh, son? I do the filming round here. Now I'm saying that joking, but ultimately we did find out that the customer was listening to and watching everything we were doing for that little camera. Now, because we nailed these beads on rather than sticking them on with pink grip, they're not sitting perfect and they're hard to adjust. So this base coat's going to set them off. So what I'm going to do to keep them where I want them in the meantime, I'm going to tape them together, and then the base coat, once that's set, will hold them exactly in place. Right, come with me a sec. Now before we're finished, on every corner of the window we want to put a stress patch, which basically looks a diagonal piece that comes off the corner and looks like this. Right, day 2. Scratch coat's nicely set. I'm going to sheet up now and get the top coat on. There's a little bit of a race against time when you're top coating because you want to get it on quite quick because we're going to stay and do the same day scrape. So we're going to get this done as fast as we can.
Okay, can I have a word?
Yeah, you alright, mate?
Yeah. Is this scratch coat been done right? Yeah, I thought it was. When I've seen it done before, it were crisscrossed, not like you've done it.
Alright. But the best thing, like, is wait till we're finished, have a look at it, go all over and fine tooth comb. I had to have a little chat with the customer and just say to him, listen, there's always this thing with the customer's always right, but I've priced the job to do it my way. And ultimately, I've just had to say to him, you can't keep changing things because I've priced to do it the way I've said to do it. And if I keep changing things to keep you happy, which is possible, because there's always more than one way to skin a cat, but I haven't priced to do it that way. I don't want to include any extras or incur any charges. So I said, look, if you can just leave us till we're finished, wait till we're done, and you can go over the job with a fine tooth comb. And if you're not happy with anything, you don't have to pay us until you're happy, you know. He's fine now. He's actually just been saying to me, I don't mean to be a nightmare. I know you're good at your job and stuff. I just get a bit stressed out when there's people working on my house, and I've been ripped off in the past. So he's all right. He's a good guy. He's just sort of stressed out. But he said to me, "I'm a nightmare customer." I'm like, no. Are you filming this for your YouTube channel? I said, yeah. He said, you'll have to put it on and say I'm a nightmare customer. I said, don't worry, mate, we're going to. Put more water in, let's get more powder in. Wash our bucket, mate, so this doesn't go on the floor. Let's begin. Pass us a crate up, please. Yeah, Reese. Where's that small tool gone? Right, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring this down in bands because we don't want a dry joint, and this needs 2 passes. So, what I'm going to say is that's the first pass there, of the first band. Now I'm going to bring a band across here, and then I'm going to put a second pass on there, the first pass here, the second pass here, the first pass here, the second pass here, and work my way down the wall, and that way I won't get a dry line that shows through when it's all finished, because if you get a dry joint, when you scrape it back, you get a ghost line, a big white line along the wall. Reese is now giving me 3 nice big scoops, man-sized handboards. What you want to do is work this right into the scratch coat, so press it on, push it in on the first pass, the second pass just sits on top and gives you the thickness. We're looking for an overall thickness of about 10 to 15 mil. Yeah, we're about 15 mil there, so by the time we scrape it back we'll probably be around about 12 mil. You can see there, that's the 2 passes, 1 pass. See the difference? I always leave that line, I don't blend it in like that because then it's hard to see where you're up to. And I'm just making sure that this isn't getting enough time to get a skin on it. If you get a skin on this, you're in trouble, so that's why you want to keep your bands quite close together. Now, I actually got that slightly wrong. Most products recommend that you apply them 15mm. PRB is slightly different. This can go on down to 10mm thick, so I'm actually putting too much on the wall, and well, you'll see what happens shortly. Regardless of how thick you're putting it on, one thing that I did notice was this stuff is absolutely lovely to use, which was a pleasant surprise. Leave me out the little tub now, yeah? Is that completely gone, that big tub now?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is, whilst Reese is mixing, to give him time, rather than putting big bands in, I'm just going to slowly work my way down this section. Only doing a little bit at a time, whilst I'm on the little bucket, whilst he catches up mixing in the big bucket. Sitting down in my old age. Now look, this is always a problem area for the new guys when you first do these type of jobs. You've got to make sure that you are on thick enough under the windowsill. Everyone seems to get it on thick enough in the easy areas, but the little tricky areas, like underneath that sill, they leave gaps or they put it on too thin. So spend your time and make sure you build it up under there. So just put that in here and then whisk it in, okay? Okay, that wall's on, the nib's on. We've got to put the reveals on now. We've only got half a tub of stuff left. That's everything. And we've still got that little wall to do. Now, to say we are cutting it fine, I'm not sure that's going to do it. We're going to attempt it, but ultimately, maybe if we had 25kg bags, it'd be fine. But we're going to try our best to see if we can get it done. This is going to have to go on tight if we've got any chance of getting this done. So out of necessity, what I actually ended up doing was putting it on at the right thickness. This is the thickness it was designed to go on at. So it went on a lot nicer. Second pass, I've got that much left to do. Show them what's in the bucket. And I've still got to get the head and reveals over there. So it's going on tight. Tight, tight. Right, that wall's on. The reveals are on. That wall's on. Look how much we've got left in here. Literally, by the skin of my teeth, got it done. Now, ideally, you want 10% waste. You want 10% left over. Not because you like wastage, but because if you ever run out on a big wall and you've got a little square metre left, you know, you're better off having 5 bags over than 1 bag short, because the whole lot would have to come back off. You can't patch this stuff. Fortunately for me, the gods must be favouring me today. We've just got enough stuff, so all the reveals are done. Okay, a good way to tell if it's ready to scrape or not, you want to leave this for a few hours in between, is you should be able to press it with your finger, but not leave an impression, but you want to still be able to dig in with your nail. This, I can just about, if I press hard, leave a tiny little dint. I mean, that's pretty much ready to go. That's about the soonest you'll be able to scrape it. Now, you can leave it till the next day, but it's more difficult, so I try and get on it as soon as I can. Now, look at this. These are what you want to be scraping back with. I-section scrapers, I-bars, I-beams, whatever you want to call them. Now, you can get longer ones, you can get shorter ones, and you can just get them and cut them in half as well, because little ones come in handy places like this here. These little sections, you know, rather than you having a big bar swinging round, hitting this and the windowsill, you can just cut them down. This was ready to scrape after only 3 hours. Now with K-Rend in the past, I've had to wait up to 8 hours. These are great for getting reveals because they don't get right into the corners. Sometimes they don't fit down the side of the windows. Now, you've got to go gently with them. If you press too hard into the window frame, you will leave blue marks on the window frame. Well, I usually just wrap a little bit of tape around this. I'm not too worried. These windows are going to get scrubbed back. And once we've finished, the customer's actually having these sprayed. These are going to get sprayed. So is all this cladding up here. That's all going to be sprayed grey. And then as well, all the drives get replaced. And some spotlights go on these pillars so it'll look lovely once it's all finished. Yeah, come on close. A couple of things, you're not going to get right into there with your bar all the time. So what you can do instead, once you've got as far as you can, just take your trowel and just finish the rest of it off with your trowel like that. Now another thing, it's important, when you're using the bar, we'll just demonstrate it here for instance. You put the bar on the wall, if you slide, you will leave black marks like that. So it's important that you don't slide that way and you only go, you're only scraping with it, okay? Never sliding with it, because once you get down to, you know, where it's finished like that, if you slide on it then and put big black marks on it, there's not really anything you can do apart from go into it deeper, which where it's like that you don't want to. You don't want to go any further, so be careful with that. Another little thing to remember to do, see here, we've covered over the grid. Now underneath the grid as well, underneath the metal cover, I've also stuffed an empty bag down there. So what you want to do is minimise the amount of stuff that can ever get down there. So we've got an empty bag, then the grid cover, then we've covered over with a sheet as well. Now, any little gaps behind beads, you would usually silicone at the end. We're not going to this time round, only because we've been asked not to. The window's going to get painted, and then the sealant will go on afterwards. But otherwise, we'd scrape all this back, and once we've cleaned everywhere up, we'd just go around and seal around the edge of all the stock beads. That was actually a pleasure to scrape back. I think the job came out lovely. Right, that's it. Done. Over there's done. All finished. Cleaned down. So we can get Mr. Jones, make sure he's happy, and that's it, we're finished. Let's see if I get paid or not. All done.
What a nice job.
Happy?
Yeah. You do know how to do it after all. Yeah.
So.
Spot on, is that? Yeah.
All right, mate.
Really happy.
Good stuff.
Yeah, nice one.